Well, hello and welcome to this video, how to make 10,000 a month as an artist in 2025. I'm so excited to be back and talking about this topic, how to make 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, 10,000 or more per month in your art business. So just to be crystal clear, here's what this video won't give you. It's not going to give you one strategy of how to make 10,000 a month, something that's going to work for somebody, but maybe not for somebody else. It's not going to give you a bunch of strategies to choose from of how to make 10,000 a month. But I'll tell you what it will give you. How to structure your very own art business plan so that you can make your desired financial income step by step. So what I'm going to be sharing is an example of a mini art business plan, as I call it, broken down with real numbers so you can follow along and do this yourself at home. So caveat, it's not a full, what I call a full art business plan, but it will give you a real world idea of exactly how you can kind of get started with business planning if you've not done any before. Now, if you'd like access to a full artist business plan, then I do have a course that will help you achieve this, and you can grab the link below this video to have a look at that. I'm also going to make sure that you can get yourself a free copy of my Ultimate Artist Business Plan Checklist. That's also linked below this video as well. It's a great place to start, again, if you are a complete beginner to the whole idea of business planning as an artist. Now, also, if you've watched my previous business planning videos, you'll know that I do walk you through what's going to be a different 7 areas of your business plan. And these are the full pieces that you need for a full startup plan. So you'll find out what those are if you do decide to purchase my little course. All 7 areas are expanded and you can walk through that and you'll come out with your own plan. Today, however, I'm looking at what happens if you're a bit further along on the journey and you want a simple plan to help you get to the next step. You've made some sales, you're making sales, maybe you have some sort of income coming in and you want to take it to the next step, and maybe you had a business plan back in the day and now you need that little reminder of what you need to be doing in order to make sure that you can go then to where you want to go. So after all, it's unlikely if you're a complete startup you're going to go from 0 to 10,000 a month in 1 year, right? This is normally how a traditional business goes. Year 1, you're putting money into it, so it makes a loss. Year 2, you break even, and year 3, you go into profit. Now, because a lot of us might create large works of art and have, say, minimal outgoings, it's quite possible to go into profit in your first year. But I like to sort of act on the side of caution, I suppose. So if you're watching this and you're a total beginner, be inspired. Know that this is coming up for you. Know this is where you can be going ultimately. And what we're going through today, you can also, like I said at the beginning, apply and make turn the numbers down to 1,000 or 2,000. So you can do that. The only thing that's missing from today is all the chunky research and things you need to do at the beginning. This is just going to give you the nuts and bolts. It's a lot of figures-based stuff. Exciting if you are that little bit further along. Okay, so pens at the ready. So we're going to start off with the big number, so your turnover goal. So just to be clear, this is not the profit, this is the amount of money that you want coming in to your business. So we know now that we're basing this plan off 10,000 a month, so that's fairly easy. We know that the turnover goal for the year is going to be 120,000, right? So like I say, this is not the profit, this is the money coming in. How does that look monthly? 10,000 a month, that's what we want. So let's include, say, a take-home salary of maybe 3,000 a month, so 36,000 for the year. And maybe, let's say, for example, that your expenses might be another 3,000. And that leaves you the 4,000 for tax, which you'll need to put away for, and cash flow for unforeseen circumstances, i.e. you suddenly have an exhibition you need to pay out for, or you need to buy 30 new canvases online and suddenly there's a big lump sum of money coming out of the business. So that's typically how I would do it. So if you are watching this video and you want to make the numbers smaller, just change your numbers, okay? Now here's an additional little piece in here, which is what I call the business model. So the next thing we want to think about is, well, actually, how do I want to operate this business? So in this example, I've chosen the business model as a physical local business. Now you might say, oh, I don't want to do that. I want to have an online business. So you'd need to adapt the plan accordingly. Maybe you want to be selling some online and some offline. But for this is predominantly an offline model. Okay, so the next thing, the next chunky piece we want to look at as well, okay, we know where we want to go and we've got a rough idea of the strategy. So we're going to be a physical business, but actually, what are the goals that we need? How are we going to get there? So I like to break this down into short-term goals and aspirational long-term goals. So the short-term goals are going to be over the next 12 months. They're going to help you get from where you are now to reaching that 10,000 a month. Okay, so you might have to sort of say to yourself, okay, well, what am I going to need to do? And that's where you might grab your trusty notebook and pen, and you might just start off by writing down all the things that are in your head, like, okay, what do I need to do in order to reach that goal? And then you say, okay, I'm going to break these down. I don't like to have more than 5 goals in a year. When I first started business planning, I had like 20 goals, completely unrealistic. So let's just look at 5 goals, 5 things that you need to do to work towards in order to get you there. So in this example, I've given, so number 1 goal is grow the mailing list to 3,000 plus people. Now again, we're assuming we're not a startup, we're not starting from zero, we're assuming you might have 1,000, 1,500 people on your list already. And so now you're looking, okay, well, if I want to make bigger numbers, we all know, anyone who's been watching me for a long time knows it all comes down to the size of your mailing list. So that's your first goal, all right? You're going to break down how to do that, but your first goal is doing that. Your second goal is going to be, of course, to fill up that calendar. So in this example, I said maybe you're going to book 2 large solo shows. So you're going to look ahead, you're going to find a venue, you're going to book them in well in advance in the year. You're also going to book in, I've said, 6 art fairs, 2 open studios and 4 group shows. Right, that gives you a large amount. Well, how much does it give you? It gives you 6, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 places where you can show your original art at. Okay, so that's actually more than 2 a month, right? So a couple of them are 1 a month, but they might all just be clustered together. And the open studios, I used to do 4 open studios a year. I used to do probably nearly the 6 art fairs. I would do that. I'm now thinking about it now. That's pretty much what I did when I was running my art business in the UK full time. All right, number 3 goal is collaborate with a local art studio to run regular workshops. So we're going to put this out there because we're going to come to what we're going to be selling in a minute. So it might be that you already know what you're selling. So remember, this is an example plan. Number 4, I've said find a great VA, that's a virtual assistant, to assist you with your marketing and admin. So remember, you're not a startup, you're a bit further down the track, and part of your expenses might be to pay somebody to post on social media, to answer emails, to answer comments, to answer inquiries. A lot of this can take up a lot of time. You don't want to be doing it, right? So you're going to put that as a goal. And the 5th goal I've put is select around 10 popular works to make into prints. So you can hear that this plan now revolves around 3 product service items. So we'll come to those, fleshing those out in a bit. So then your long-term or aspirational goals would be own your own studio, perhaps, right? You own your own studio. You can even have exhibitions right there. You can run your workshops right there and you can work in it. And then number 2 might be to have 2 people working for you in there, somebody who might assist your workshop, somebody who might even run a workshop later on down the track, somebody who mans an exhibition. It depends. It doesn't have to be full-time people. It could just be people that are assisting you. Somebody that comes and takes videos and photographs and does social media for you. That's the dream, right? And then the 3rd goal is to reclaim your time. Put that down, 3 aspirational goals. All right, so now we have a turnover goal. That's the amount of money we want coming in. We've set how much salary we've we've set what our expenses are going to be, and we've looked at what might be 5 goals to get you there. Now we're going to kind of break down what you're selling. Now, here's the thing, if you've been going for a while, you know what you're selling, but it might be a case of going, do you know what, I've got too many things I'm trying to do. I want to just get it down to one or two things. I suggest three. Having one income stream can be a bit risky, right? If something happens, then suddenly that income stream is gone. So three that fit nicely together, that can be sort of sold one off the other, you'll see about this later on in the video, can work really, really well. So in this example plan, the products and pricing, we've got original art, you probably heard that, we've got prints, and we've got workshops. And then how much you do of each of these is going to be up to you, but again, we're going to come to that in just a minute. So pricing strategy. So again, this is not startup pricing, likely. This is maybe we're a bit more established, we're working larger, for example, we do have a bit of a mailing list, there are different things going on. So I've said for the originals, we're pricing anywhere between 2,500 and 10,000, all right? For the prints, we're going anywhere from 250 to 500. And then for the workshops, 250 per person. So now we need to say to ourselves, well, how many products or services do I need to sell to hit my annual goal? So let's just look at if you only sold original art, you would need to sell anywhere from 48 of the low priced items to just 12 of the high priced items, right? That's 4 or 1 a month if you look at it per month. Now in this sort of model, with higher priced art, I wouldn't be going, oh, I need to make that sell every month. You're likely going to have a solo show and sell, I don't know, maybe 10 ones in one show. So, actually you probably don't need to be thinking of it in terms of per month, but sometimes it's good to just get a reality kind of check. So if you just said, okay, well, I just have paintings at 5,000, it's 24 paintings in a year that you're selling at 5,000. Now, again, we could go down a rabbit hole here. I also don't recommend that you just have one size. Variety is good, some small, some medium, some large, all right? Think Goldilocks. A lot of people like to buy in between. They look at the small and they think, oh, that's small. They look at the large and sometimes they're like, well, I haven't got anywhere to put that. Let's go for the middle. So you definitely want to have variety, but you're getting the idea. All right, so the second one then is the prints. So this is a larger numbers, all right? So this is where you might go, oh, wow, okay, how am I going to do that? So you need to sell anywhere between 480 to 240. So from the low price point to the high, that's 40 or 20 a month. So that's when you sit there and go, have I got a system in place to make sales of prints like that? And then if you're going to run the workshops and you're only going to make money off the workshops, okay, you've got to sell 480 full price. That doesn't allow for any early bird ticketing or anything. You've got to make that 40 places a month. So unless you have a workshop business, it's going to be quite hard to do that. So what we suggest then is you do a mixture. So you're not trying to build a business with just one income stream, like I said, because that's risky. So if you think about a table, it needs at least three legs to stand up on, right? If you take one leg away, it's going to fall over. So 3 is the minimum you need for some sort of stability, right? Although I do highly recommend starting with 1, getting that going before you introduce the next one. Anyone who knows me well knows that I operate the island principle. If you want to know what that is, hit me up with a message below. I think I may have made a video about it. So now we look at what percentage will you aim for each product. So in this example, I've said, okay, maybe 50% of the income is going to come from originals, and 25% of the income is going to come from prints, 25% will come from workshops. Now, I'm not going to sit here and bore you with numbers, but you can whip out your calculator and go, okay, so now suddenly, I've gone from needing 480 places, we can do 25% of that, and you can go, oh, okay, that feels a bit better. And it could be that you say, actually, workshops are just going to be 10% of my income. I'm only going to do them twice a year after my solo show, for example. And so therefore, I don't have to worry about that so much. All right, so in that example, like per month, you would be looking at making 5,000 from artwork. So that could be 2 mediums, couldn't it, if you think about it? 2,500 from both prints and workshops. So that could be 10 medium prints, one workshop with 10 people. Suddenly it all starts to come down, all right, and become more manageable. So obviously there's a few things you can change. You can up the price. So the workshop might be that you have something that's so niched and so specific, nobody else teaches, everybody wants to know, and your workshops are $500 per person. Now suddenly you need less people and the whole numbers again alter. So it's up to you to tweak these, but this is the principle, this is how you do it. All right, so the next piece here is looking at target audience. Who is going to buy your work or join your workshops? You are going to decide. So we're just going to give an overview of who they might be. Now, because we're offering different things, you're going to have what I call customer segments, a bit like an orange, different segments of the orange. So in this example, I've created just 3. So if you think about it, if all you do is offer originals and maybe even prints, it could just be that that's the same audience, but I'm going to show you how actually creating 2 separate audiences is much easier. And then if you do workshops, well, they could be a completely different section again. So breaking it down like this is going to be much easier for you in the long run. So normally we talk about target audience and it's one selection of people. But when we're really looking at marketing, you do really want to break it down. Here are my 3 examples. So for your original work, and I've given them a name, I like to give the audience sectors a name. So in this example, I've called them art collectors. So my art collectors are couples in their 40s to 60s. They have corporate jobs still, they don't have any children, they love art, theatre, travel, owning high quality large artworks by emerging and established local artists. They don't really have any budget limits for the right piece, right? They're not looking at the price tag, they're looking at the piece, they're looking at value. And then for the prints, I'm calling them home builders. It's my audience. So they're younger, 20s to 40s, setting up homes, they're into home decor, they're into investing and making a beautiful home. They might not be ready to buy original art, but they love the idea of owning something again by a local artist and owning maybe a print to start out with, rather than using shop bought images. Right, they don't want to go to IKEA and buy themselves something. They do want some art, but they're perhaps a bit more budget conscious at this stage, and they're not ready to go to the next level. Then the third section would be what I call the would-be artist, and I've decided they're predominantly women in their 40s to 60s. They're gaining time back after having a family. They want to learn some key skills to apply to their own kind of creative practice. They're probably more of a hobbyist though than a future art business owner, right? They want an immersive experience that fills them up emotionally. Now, do you see how those 3 kind of segments are different? Now, you might say to me, Sophie, it could just be that one person could end up doing all of those things. And you're right, that's absolutely possible. But when it comes to marketing, this is one of the huge mistakes people make. If you don't really narrow down and speak to those people, it's going to be really hard work. It's very difficult to do marketing just for a general possible audience, right? You're throwing those darts into the dark, hoping something's going to stick. Let's also talk about your niche here. It's what you offer and to whom. So again, I dive deeper into all of this on other areas, other videos, and in that business planning course. Having a niche is really important in terms of making good sales, making it obvious to your audience what you do and who you do it for. So here's an example for this plan. Large abstract landscape oil paintings for art collectors in the UK. Now we've obviously aimed that up at the higher group, the original art, because predominantly you're focused on original art. And that tells people what you do, and people understand that that work is going to be UK based, has a certain look, has a certain mood. And people buying prints will be very happy if they see that written somewhere. It doesn't matter whether they're buying originals or prints. And obviously those would-be artists are just into it because they want to learn from you. So they're really happy. That's very clear. That's what you do. Chances are the workshops that you offer are going to be in your area of expertise as well. So do you see how even this basic information that we've decided now gives you a solid starting point for your marketing, right? Rather than, okay, my target market loves art. Well, of course they're going to love art. Maybe they're this age, maybe they live in this place. Actually, we want to know some more specifics. So doing that little exercise really helps you. So let's go ahead and look at the sales and marketing bit. Okay, so now we've got a little bit clear on the who. Let's plan out the how, all right? This is all about how are we now going to make the sales. We've got our turnover, we've set our goals, we know what business model we're going to be using, we know what we're going to be offering and the price point, we know who we're going to be aiming to get in front of in order to purchase the art. Now we're going to work out, well, how are we going to do that, right? This is all about the how. So when we think about those audience segments and we think about what we're offering, this is how we come up with the decisions. Here's my example. Number one sales and marketing strategy would be what I call your key sales platform, where you're actually going to sell your art from. That would be, in this case, I think your own website with really good SEO. That's search engine optimization. Now, when you think about the niche, of abstract art, abstract landscape, oil paintings UK, I don't think it would be too difficult to actually do a great job of the SEO on your website. So this will be the place where you want to send people. Now, understanding your art collectors, you know that this website is not a DIY will sort of do website. It needs to be high quality, that's easy to use, that showcases your art, that looks beautiful. Use something like using a Shopify site and a beautiful template, for example, or investing some money into somebody building you a beautiful art website. Because if you're going to be selling artwork at, say, up to 10,000 or more, you want to make sure that the person's experience on this website is good, right? If they go to a DIY site and look at it and go, this doesn't look great, then they're going to hop away and they're not going to purchase. So this is going to be ideal, like we said, for your art collectors. So number two, I've put in galleries. Are really great for just getting your work out there. And again, really good for your art collectors, because chances are they're going to be wandering around the area where they live, geographical area or the nearest big city, and they're going to be looking at the good galleries. So if you're in 1, 2 or 3 of those, that could be really great strategy. They see some work, they like it, they check out who you are, they go and look at your website where all your work is on. So again, I didn't mention that in the goals specifically. So you can decide, I want to do the gallery thing, or actually I don't want to do the gallery thing. So you could swap galleries out for shows or art fairs, for example. All right, number 3 strategy I've put in here is Facebook and Instagram ads. Perfect to promote your print to those home builders, all right? Those home builders are younger people. They're going to be looking at social media. They're going to be looking, going, oh, I really love that, I love that, I love that. And so by actually serving up ads to that audience, I think that could be fairly easy. And ads for artists are fairly low cost compared to someone like myself who wants to put an ad out for a business course or a business something. We pay far more than somebody's going to pay for art. Works very, very well right now. So that's what I would say is your 3rd strategy. 4th, and none of these are in order of preference, by the way, just the way I've written them. Email marketing, all right? This is hands down if it's the only thing you did, this is the one thing you must do. Essential, I've written in block capitals in my notes, to reach all sectors of your market, right? In separate types of emails. Now here's the thing, you've got the 3 sectors. So you want to create 3 sections in your email list, because an email that you're going to write to your art collectors inviting them to a private view is not one that you want to go out generally to maybe people who are interested in workshops. Okay, and then the 5th one I've put is referrals. Could be great for all 3 sectors. People love to refer things they like. So imagine your art collector has a beautiful piece of work in their lounge. They've got friends come round for a dinner party and they go, wow, that's a beautiful piece you've got there. And they say, oh yes, do you know what, I really love collecting from this local artist. In fact, I can give you a referral slip that's going to get you 10% off, or get you, might be exclusive access to a studio viewing, or I've got an exclusive private view card I can give you. Not everybody gets these, something like that. So that could work really, really, really well. And you think about it for workshops, you could also give out referral cards. Anyone who does a workshop, have you got friends you know who might like to do this workshop? Number 6, I've put as joint ventures. So this could be really good to promote those workshops actually. Maybe you do a joint venture with a local art store or a local, I don't know, museum or something in that realm that could benefit from promoting your workshop, and you could then promote them. So an art materials store would work well, obviously. They promote your workshop, you promote them to go and buy the materials at. Okay, last but not least, social media. Why is this going to be good for you? It's great for brand awareness, and it may even attract those home builders and also would-be artists. Now, we don't know about the art collectors, the busy corporate jobs. I don't know if they're going to be on social media, so I wouldn't count on that, but I would definitely be targeting the home builders and also the would-be artists group with your social media. And also just getting that brand look and brand message out there, super important. So when we're talking about messaging and that voice, we need to think about these audience sectors. It's high-end, it's professional, it's exclusive, right? And what about visuals? Like visuals, like website, social media, it's going to be simple, it's going to be modern, it's probably going to be minimalist, right? For a brand kind of look. And then let's just talk about some actual key sales strategies. What might you be doing in order to make this easier for these customers to come in? So obviously we know you're going to be doing regular shows because we've already got that on the goals list, with private views, exclusive invites to your mailing list. So this is going to really help if people feel that not everyone's invited to private view, just people who've bought before, who've shown interest in buying before will come along to the private view, and then they get exclusive access to your work before everybody else. Email marketing. You can run email marketing offers for your prints and your workshops. So for example, you could do an early bird pricing for the workshops via your email list. And you can also be running, of course, Instagram and Facebook ad campaigns specifically for the prints. So you could line them up with, I don't know, Easter, special discount code for Easter. Now we have to remember that this is all, your brand here is fairly high-end. We've got high-end professional exclusives, so we don't want to do lots of, get 50% off your art prints. I think that's not going to be in line with what you're doing, but you might say the special Easter offer might be get a print and get, I don't know, a pack of cards, or with the print you get something, or it might be the 10% off, or it might be an exclusive studio purchase, or it might be a 24-hour drop. It could be that you say, okay, for the next 24 hours, you can buy this brand new print before anybody else. And therefore, you're not offering a discount, you're offering something that's more exclusive. Okay, last but not least, the money, the financials. So if you're still here, congratulations. You must have a notepad full of writing right now, and maybe you're thinking to yourself, I might just download that checklist. Now that checklist is great to kind of give you an overview of all the things you need. It's not in alignment with this video. The checklist was made a while ago, but I still love it. I think it's great. It gives you lots of ideas and things, and there's some emails to follow that will also prompt you. You're going to need a simple cash flow forecast on a spreadsheet listing out your expenses, both your fixed and variables, and your proposed income in alignment with everything we've just discussed here. You're going to sort of estimate per show. So if we know you've got, even if you got that down, instead of, I think we had 14, didn't we, events, if you got that down to 12 and you're doing something one a month, for example, then you could just estimate. You might say, okay, so next month I estimate, if I'm doing an art fair, I'm going to estimate I'm going to sell 2 pieces, 3 pieces, and you put in that amount. Now remember, we're building a 10,000 a month plan here. So when you're putting in those amounts, even if you start off smaller and grow throughout the 12 months, at the end, that income, that turnover figure needs to show 120. All right, so you need to be adding more in. And this can be alarming for some people because they look and go, oh my God, these numbers have got really, really big. But just remember, you're not a startup, so these figures should feel a lot more comfortable for you. And remember, you also want those 3 income streams. So you want to think about, well, 50% of it's coming from the original art, 25 is coming from your prints, 25 from the workshops, or whatever division you decide. And don't forget that those those expenses are going to be around the 3,000. You might need to put in money for ads, you might need to put in money for just all sorts of things. It's actually quite an exciting, I really like to do a cash flow forecast. This is a forecast, all right? And then what you'll do is you will keep track, obviously, of your actuals, and you compare, well, I forecasted that I was going to make this amount, but actually I made more at that event or less at that event. Okay, then you also perhaps want to be looking at available budget for growth, for support, for extras. Have you got some savings somewhere, or a business credit card with a limit on it, so that you know that if you do need to invest in that large show, that large opportunity that came along, or a big amount of art materials, that you've got some extra money if you need it. Sometimes having a little bit of support is good, so you can add all of this down in your finances. Now, obviously, you need to keep accounts. You want to have an accountant, bookkeeper, or bookkeeping method. At this point, when you're building a business this size, you're not doing it with pen and paper. You're doing it with likely some bit of software perhaps that your accountant has helped you use, so that you have an accountant to do everything for you, and then you use some software that they can help you set up, and you can put all your money in there so that you can track everything. You do not want the shoebox of receipts and a piece of paper and pen. They're not going to be very happy with you. That's great for starting out, but as things get more complicated, you need to have a really good system. And again, your bookkeeper accountant can help you with that. Okay, so now we just talked, the last kind of piece really, pulling it all together, is what I call a month-by-month plan. Now, I like to work 90 days at a time. So an example for shooting this, we're in March, so let's look at April, May, June. So what you're going to do is, on a month-by-month plan, you'll just list the month, and then you'll list out things that are going to be happening in the month. And you might start by your 90-day goal. That just brings you back to, like, okay, so this is how much I need to make. I need to make 30 grand in the next 3 months. This is the goals and projects I'm working on. I'm specifically growing the mailing list, or I'm specifically doing this solo show. How much artwork do I need? Have I got enough? Do I need to increase it? Am I working on a new collection? Dates for any exhibitions that you've got, you pull those in and go, okay, this is what I'm working to. I've got these 2 art fairs plus the solo show. And if you're using the gallery strategy, just make sure you've accounted for artwork that's going into the gallery. The dates for proposed workshops that you're going to be running. Email marketing campaigns. You're going, oh, there's Easter. I'm going to be running an email marketing campaign over Easter. So you just circle that in April. Oh, April, May, June. That'd be the first month. Any special offers that you're going to be doing. Like we said, remember you are building a more high-end brand. So the special offer might be workshops, for example. Now, the real key here is to keep this simple. Your 3 months needs to look attainable, achievable, and exciting. You don't want to look at it and go, oh my God, I filled the entire sheet with 20 things per month, because you're just not going to be able to do it, all right? So here's an example. So for example, you might say, okay, my main focus is I've got a big solo show. The sales strategy I'm using is a private view, inviting my collectors and interested people. I'm also at that solo show going to be selling prints. And I'm going to have promotional materials for my workshops that are coming just after that. And you have a special exhibition offer. Purchase the workshop at the exhibition to get your 15% off, or bring along a friend for half price, whatever it's going to be. With this example, you are mainly aligning your ducks in a row for your big solo show and the follow-up sales that come after it, right? Everything is leading to the show. The show, you're selling the other 2 items. So you're selling all 3 things at one show. It's a very smart move, folks, all right? And it's great once you've got a big mailing list and you've got enough high quality artwork and you've found a great venue. Or maybe you're working with a gallery and they're very happily going to also promote you. So if you're excited by all this, and you should be, and if you're still watching, please let me know in the comments that you are aligning your ducks and then I'll know which bit of the video you're at. So well done that you're still here. I hope you've made a gazillion notes. Don't forget you can watch the video again and get all the specifics. And don't forget that I've got a couple of other key videos on my my traditional 7 steps that includes all of it, including there's lots of research and other bits that you need to do if you've never business planned before. Then those 2 things that will help you: the Ultimate Artist Business Plan Checklist, which is your free thing you can grab, and a link below here, and that will start to help you. It's quite satisfying when you can tick things off on a box, right? It's like, oh, this is good, now I've got that, great, that's a good start. I think the first one is a quick win for a lot of you. It's like, yep, done that. And then that feels really good, and you're like, oh, I need to work on that, or I need to work on that, I need to work on that. And then obviously if you're really keen to get an entire business plan made, then I do have my Build Your Artist Business Plan course, and there is a link to that as well below the video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've got some benefit out of it. Please let me know. And next time, obviously, I'm going to be doing a bit of a studio catch up with where am I on my journey? How's my artwork gone? How's my own business plan gone? Find out that I have already booked in my first exhibiting deadline, which is like, whoa, fairly close. So I've got some pressure behind me, so that's exciting. So make sure to subscribe if you want to follow my journey. So it'll be partly my journey and partly videos with this sort of thing, you know, interspersed. So thank you again, and don't forget to check out this other business plan video on the screen, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.